Do you live here in these containers?
No, but I watch Homelessness.
You were? Do you have a home now?
Yeah, they help me get a home.
Yeah?
Yeah, I live on the west side now, but when I was hanging around here, it was terrible.
Mm-hmm. In what ways?
Nothing but fucking people hurting people and fucking stealing. When they really should be helping each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you're friends with them, they help each other. But if you got beef with somebody over drugs, they'll hurt you bad. And I don't think that's fair. You should always help each other. When you guys are when everybody's down and out, you guys should help each other, build each other up. She just lost her fucking wallet. Somebody stole it right from her. And it had her whole life in it. And I don't think that's right. She's not okay. That probably had her kids shit in it and everything. Everything I had. Everything.
Did they like take it from you with force, or did they steal it from your car, or like?
Did they steal it right from you?
No, I was right here. It was just three. It was Sarah.
It was Sarah that took it. Guaranteed. There was only 3 people with her. And I know who it was that took it. Don't worry about it. I'll get it back.
Sarah?
Yeah, I can't keep my voice.
Okay, well, will you be around later?
I'm talking down.
Sarah, she's pregnant, right?
Yeah. She's almost due.
Yeah, I met her yesterday. What are you smoking?
I like a lot of people here, though. I have a lot of friends here.
What are you smoking?
Fentanyl.
How long have you been smoking?
I've been on drugs since I was 12.
How old are you now?
23. Come here, Rochelle. Come here. Come here for a sec. Sorry.
You doing all right? Are you gonna be okay? Sorry that happened to you.
Hello my friends, and welcome. A little commentary and my thoughts before we dive in, because this video is quite heavy, if you haven't already noticed. First off, I'm fascinated by humans. I'm fascinated by my fellow brothers and sisters on this planet. I love to learn about people and hear their stories, and I often wonder how it is the people that I speak to come to this moment, the here and the now. This interest is magnified when there is a divide around social issues that we humans are often a part of. This video is minimally edited, and that is on purpose. That is with intention. This video is not really created to entertain. In fact, the creative decisions that I made in this video are in a way meant to weed those folks out who are just here for cheap entertainment at the expense or unfortunate position that some of the folks in this video are in. Okay, this video is for the people like me who want to understand the fellow humans that we share this planet with. Okay, these are our people. So with that being said, I invite you to come on this journey with me. We're gonna do some interviews down in the Waterloo village. Okay, let's go. Okay. How long have you been on Waterloo Street?
So I grew up in St. John. I grew up in the North End, up by Rockwood Park area, Jack Street. Lived here till I was 17 years old, and then joined the Canadian Armed Forces. I went away and did my time, and was retired, and now I'm back to improve my community. That's it. That's it in a nutshell.
So was it always like this? I know, well, when I say like this, what's going on Waterloo Street?
Okay, so it wasn't always like this from what I've been told. My girlfriend lived here her entire life. So pre-COVID stuff, it was a total different neighborhood. Even 2 years ago, it was a different neighborhood. But within the last year, we see some stuff kicking up. Like you start seeing tents pop up everywhere. You start seeing open drug use more. We're starting to see needles and pipes and stuff like that out in the streets like this. So I had no idea what this stuff was. So I started asking some questions like, who's responsible for this stuff? Where are they getting these supplies? And why are we allowing this to happen, right? So I think these are legitimate questions that needed to be asked. And it doesn't seem like anybody was asking any questions. So yeah, that's what's going on here in a nutshell.
So from your point of view and your experience, what, like, is this homeless, could I call it like a homelessness crisis?
Yeah.
Is this homelessness? Is this substance abuse? Is this traumas? You know, is this mental health? Like, what is it?
Well, it's all of those things, man. It is all of those things at this point. They get blanketed in homelessness, right?
Yes.
So, and that was the thing. It's easy just to point the fingers and just say, this person's homeless. So if you put a homeless person in a house, problem solved. Now, if you put someone with serious mental health issues in a house that can't take care of themselves, they're going to have issues. Now, if you have a recreational drug user with mental health issues and you put them in a house without any long-term care, they're going to have issues. So this whole thing has identified a gap in the system. So we have homelessness people. We have people with mental health issues. We have people with serious drug addictions, and we have a mixture of everything. So it's kind of like the perfect circle to, you know, kind of breed this type of community here, where it's like, you know, you're homeless, you're down on your luck, you get around a certain type of people, maybe you start using drugs, maybe your mental health wasn't in a good spot in the first place, and it's just this vicious cycle, man. And you know, there's a lot of agencies around here trying to improve that, but I didn't know who they were at this point.
You know everybody out here.
We know their names, man. We try to know their stories, and Farah in particular, I've helped her numerous times, and you know, she just needed help. One night she was out screaming, begging for help. It was cold, it was damp, and she just begging for wanting to go home, wanting to get help. And from that video, we actually had it lined up for her to go to rehab. On the way to rehab, they called back and said she needed a detox first. Okay, so they brought her to detox. Detox put her on a 5-day wait. That was a Wednesday. Show up Monday. She didn't show up for her appointment. Now she's back. This was about a month ago. So what do? There's no resources. And she wants help. We can't even help people that want help. We need more resources for these people. And I tell you what, man, the stuff that she's experienced, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. She's been pepper sprayed. I saw it with my own eyes. Got her help. She's been beat up, you know, but she's still choosing the life. Nothing's going to make her stop, not even being pregnant. So what do?
Baby, now and
You want to talk to my friend?
yeah, it's boring. I see her.
Is it okay if I film?
Yeah, it's fine. It's a chip pipe.
Yes, you can play.
When I was 15 years old, I started with opiates. And my name is Sarah Lee Humphrey. And when opiates, I went to cocaine. From cocaine, I went to speed pills. From speed pills, I went to the gym. And from the gym, Jasmine. From the gym, I went to Betty. Now I'm right back in Betty, and I'm actually 7 months pregnant. I don't want the to go into foster care. I really don't. I want to take care of my child with all my heart. I see all these people over here like that, breaking my heart, right? But this one losing her money walking down the street. She sent me $70.
Sarah, what's in your hand?
That's Jim. Can I pull that away, buddy, and give you stuff?
Yep.
The thing is that, you know, really, I take Ritalin. Ritalin is a pill the doctor gives you. It should be actually illegal. This stuff, it's such a form. It's in a pipe. It should be illegal for people. It actually helps me when I take it. And the thing I say today is that, why is it not legal? And it's a medicine. It's a medicine to help people. Same as Fetty when you're in pain. Opiates, you have opiates. One of these days I think it's
So
going to be
you, so
illegal.
you think drugs should be legal?
It actually should be illegal. In my
think-
mind, it should be.
Yeah.
But people shouldn't be judging people.
No,
with
we
the
don't
problems.
judge you. We just want you to get help, and we
But
try
it
to
is
get
that
you help.
I would
Remember?
have, if I had a place today, I'd have the help.
I know you would.
Because I'd got the drugs. I had 3 little boys that have autism. Alex, George, and Zachary.
We saw you last year get out of jail, and you came back. You had good attitude,
But
and
the
you
thing
said you
is
weren't
that-
going. You weren't
no,
going to go. Remember
the thing
that?
is that
You were
they can,
clean and you were
they
happy.
can have me on Ritalin in next year, and so it's
They have you on Ritalin.
They have me on Ritalin 20 a day,
Yeah.
20 in the morning, 20 at night. It's like gym. It's a petty
That's
for
a
gym.
good, yeah.
And when I take the gym, my brain cells open up. It's hard to say. I don't get high no more. My mind opens up. I see the world.
You feel better.
I feel better, but more than anything, it's a medication to me.
Do you remember getting bear sprayed or pepper sprayed?
I remember that. I remember the kids. I know who did it. I know what happened.
Yeah, I
Not a rat.
remember. I went out and it was early in the morning.
Yeah, I ran down the street butt naked. But
Yeah.
you know what? I couldn't help it. I couldn't see. At the moment when you get bear mace, it's hard, right?
Mm.
The thing is that I believe gig should be illegal. I've been on this for 2 years, but I need no help. 2 years. Where's my help? And
So what do you need for help? What does
I need a
help look like?
place. I need an apartment. And,
So if you got a place, would you stop doing drugs?
I had CPS in the house twice a week. Drug testing, yes I would. I'd have my music, I'd have my coloring, I'd have everything I need.
Do you think that would work for most people?
100%. I'd go back on my
So
weed.
I mean, the people that were on.
I'd quit tomorrow if I had to go to apartment with me again.
I know you would.
Tomorrow. See these people down here? I have no respect for the apartments. And I'm sitting here because I'm pregnant with no place. I don't understand why I don't have a place. I don't understand what I did. But the thing is that I would stop tomorrow and put my feet down and would. That's the problem with this child. The problem with my 3 kids. But they won't give me a place. I've been trying.
We're trying. We're praying for you, Sarah.
Where do you sleep, Sarah?
I sleep. I don't sleep days, nights. I go in the room, try to get shelter, or you know what I say, on the streets. Most everybody.
You
or-
sleep on the streets?
Half time, or I'm dozing off, or I don't sleep 7 days straight. I'm up. I see me up 20 days straight, and ask him. I'm out here just doing my own thing. But I've been staying on my ex's house, Chris. Some nights, but honestly, buddy, I'm scared. Like I don't really want to like sleeping. I don't sleep. If I had my own apartment, I'd do good. Like I told you guys, they come in 4 times a week to test me. I don't
Sure.
want this child in the system, and they know Bucky don't want it either. And I know we don't. But I'm telling you, tomorrow, if I had a place, I'd quit drugs. I proved them all wrong. I got the drugs.
So we had you lined up for rehab. Remember Moncton?
I don't need rehab. I don't need it.
You don't need rehab.
I don't need rehab. I need my own apartment. That's
Okay.
the amount. And I'm telling you, I can do it in my own apartment. Yeah,
Absolutely.
but I need my own apartment. That's what I really need. Rehab is this the time.
So who's helping you get an apartment?
Most of my sleep in here soon, and I don't know, but my work gave me this percent. I've been a drug addict since 15 years old, and I've been on my own. I never had parents to raise me. Like my dad, Billy Fisherman, my mom, Maury. I've had to know my real parents. Chris Bretton's my real dad. When I found out by Susie when I was 14 years old, when Susie told me, "Your real dad ain't the Billy." I said, "Okay." And when I talked to Billy actually told me the truth, real dads. I'm a prostitute in, I'd say, a while now. For
So
money.
what
Well,
would you
dude,
prostitute for?
for money for drugs. Now what I do now is I go down to the bridge and I say homeless and cold. I'll get money, but a bag of petty will do me about 3 days now. And I just take a puff like here, I'll have right here. Is this right here? That's petty, like purple in there and stuff. That's a petty pipe too now, it's all purple. But
So
right
is
now,
that-
these
is
2
that-
pipes right here will do me a couple days now. So when I want something, I'll just take a little puff and calm the edge down.
So there's fentanyl in there right now, ready to be
Yeah,
smoked.
you know what they found me yesterday in the mall?
What?
I was so tired that I was behind the garbage can out in McAllister Mall, and I was face down. The girl woke me and said, "Sarah, Sarah." I said, "What?" And I woke up, and there it was.
When I first got into this position, I didn't understand it. I thought you need to give people treatment, then house them. I'm all about housing people first and treating them at the same time. They need long-term treatment. So how do we develop that? Well, one, we got to stop cutting out our mental health services like the Higgs government did. They shut down Lone Water Farm. This was a place where we had 40 beds to treat people with mental health issues, drug addiction and stuff like that. So they cut that out to save a few bucks. And now we're seeing the fallout from that. Cuts to mental health services. And, Center Care was a big thing here in St. John. And that closed down years ago, and everybody wants to blame that. It wasn't Center Care. It was in the last year and a half that all these institutions got cut. And now we're seeing the fallout of the pandemic is turning into a mental health epidemic. We have a mental health issue disguised as an addiction issue here in St. John. And we need to help treat the mental health aspect if we're going to get anywhere.
Yeah, so you mentioned they cut out mental health services. Is it I'm just trying to think from their perspective, like, why would they do that? Is it possible they did make those cuts because the services weren't working, they weren't adequate?
Well, yeah.
I'm just thinking, like, you take these, these people who are struggling and put them in a treatment center or a help center with other people, and the environment's very sterile and medical. It's not warm and welcoming. It's not offering any type of like spiritual development. It's just kind of like, here, we don't want you on the street. We're gonna try to help you get better. Like,
Right.
And I personally, I see that as a failure as well. If the person's not developing a sense of purpose and meaning in their life, maybe it was not a waste of time, but maybe it's just not the right type of help or treatment.
Right. That's what we're in right now. We got to figure out the right type of help or treatment. We're in over our heads right now. Right now, we're seeing this stuff out in the streets. We need to have more resources like social workers. We need to have psychologists and stuff like that. We need to have our police do their jobs, right? Right now, police are acting more like medical interventionists. 90% of the calls around here, like this, is an overdose call, or something like that. It's like, this is a common occurrence here. This is what we see every day in the village, constant calls. We get our police, we get a fire, we get our ambulance. Everybody shows up because they don't know what's up. The stuff I've seen here, it goes from people dropping dead to babies that were burnt. You know what I mean? Tent fires, explosions, stuff like this. This is just another run in the day. You know what I mean? It could be a mental health call, it could be anything. You never know what they're going to get. It's, it's constant. And, when police are dealing with someone in a mental health crisis, they're not trained for that. They're trained to enforce the law. So we need mental health interventionists, and that would cut down on our police calls. And then you can actually get people the help that they need and not lock them up, not make them feel intimidated. And so with someone with mental health issues like myself with PTSD, and now I know if I was having a bad day and a police officer got aggressive with me, 100% I'm going to jail. You know what I mean? So how do you deal with these people? So our police are getting burnt out, right? They feel helpless because right now, federally, our drug laws are open. You can use drugs openly here in the street. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so can you introduce yourself, please?
So Melanie Votor with Fresh Start Services.
Okay, and what does Fresh Start do in St. John?
So we are a nonprofit that works to support individuals experiencing homelessness, but ultimately to work with individuals to get housing and keep housing.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what does that look like for you? I know you guys played a role in the container housing development that's been quite recent. How does that come about?
So I think it happens well before that. We have 3 distinct programs. We have a prevention program that works to stop people from becoming homeless. And then we have an outreach program that supports individuals once they end up outside. That's our newest program. We just launched in January. And then we have a housing support program as well, so that once we get them housed, they get support in home to stay housed.
Who funds Fresh Start?
So we have levels of government funding and also local foundations, groups, and donors. Our primary funding for the housing and homeless prevention programs is the federal government through the Reaching Home strategy.
So are you guys a private organization or a government organization?
So we are an incorporated nonprofit. So we're not private. We're governed by a board of directors. But we, as most nonprofits do, we get government funding.
Okay. Part of me is like government funding, federal government. Is it federal or provincial government who helps with this funding?
So both, but primarily federal government.
Okay, and for me, my initial reaction is like, they're so far away. They're not here with their feet on Waterloo Street. So the further we are away from problems, the less we care. It's human nature.
Mm-hmm.
Does that play a role? Like I know David Hickey, he lives on this street. If there's anyone who understands, as a politician, it's him. Is this system broken right now in that regard?
So I would like to say that the system's not broken. It wasn't built properly to begin with. You know, we live in a system that was designed with colonialism, oppression, um, misogyny in place, and we've slowly over the years fought back and pushed back to change that system, but it takes time. What I can say is this is the first time in my career, in the last few years, that I've actually seen levels of government start to get it. They've actually brought us to the table. Instead of telling us this is what you're going to do for homelessness, they started coming to us and saying, what do you need from us to help with homelessness? So that's huge. They're listening to frontline organizations and staff. So what's being done is being directed by community, not to us, by us. The problem is, and I think, homelessness is, this rise in homelessness isn't confined to St. John. It's not confined to Canada. This is worldwide. It speaks to much larger issues that we have as a society. And again, the root cause of homelessness ultimately is poverty. It's poverty. And until we look to address that, whether it's guaranteed basic income, rent caps that, everyone who rents, there's government to tie that rent amount into your income. We're tying rent increases to inflation instead of people's wages. So these are all bigger systems, and this is happening around the world. So, like, for those of us who have done the work for a long time, we saw this coming because we slowly were seeing, inflation rising, but poverty, the same number of people were still living in poverty, and it was growing. And so you end up with this greater disparity, and post-COVID kind of reached that tipping point. And then you kind of around the world had this explosion in homeless numbers, and we attack governments and we attack local municipalities. But obviously, this is happening everywhere, in every continent, in every country. It's a bigger problem than government.
Okay, last question. Why do you do this work? Why do you care so much?
That's a tough one. I think we're called to do this work. For a fresh start, we all have to have lived experience. As staff, we have to have experience.
I'm talking about you, Mel.
Yeah.
Why do you do this work?
I do this work because I think that I have been very fortunate in my life to have had opportunity and especially support from family that not everyone has or can access. And I often tell the people we serve that the only thing that has me on this side of the desk was luck. So I was lucky to have family that was in a position to support me and help me through hard times. That kept me going. Not everyone has that. And so I feel with that blessing, I need to give that to other people.
I sympathize with you. As an observer, someone who's not as close to it as you, I read the comments, I see what people are saying, and it seems like there's basically two sort of camps. There's like, we need to clean this up, this isn't right, why are we allowing this? And then on the other side, there's, people who are like, well, where are they supposed to go? Aren't you privileged to be in your closed environment with your house and your bank account with some money? You know what I mean? Like, how do we make sense of both sides and come and unite, basically, not be so divided? Are those that second camp like missing something? Maybe they're not sympathizing with the people who live in the community. It's very circular.
That's exactly it. So when I started this, I started seeing people on both sides come out. Let's kill them. Let's burn them to death, whatever, move them out, and then let them do whatever they want. So that's not good. I'm right here. We have a problem. Let's come together, right? Let's show people love. Let's stop arguing about ideologies. Let's come together as a community and fix the problem. We can't house people that have serious mental health issues. We need to get them mental health services. If people have drug addictions, we need to get them drug services. And if they're unhoused, we need to get them housing. But we need to come together. There was a lot of division in this community, and I saw it. It was ugly, and I chose to change the message I was putting out there. One, from calling people out, to actually changing my vision to love and accountability for myself. Get out there. What am I doing for the community? Let's bring people together. This is how we're going to get out of this. So, oh, Sarah, come on in.
I just wanted to thank you. I'm John Derrick.
Hi, John.
I know your mom and dad
Oh,
really
yeah.
well.
Oh, yes, I
Met
met
the
him. I
meetings,
did meet him.
And my other nephew that's homeless here.
Okay.
Do you know him?
I don't know him by name, but I probably know him by face.
I want to thank you. This man has done wonders. I go on his website every day. Every day.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to come by and say thank you.
Thank you so much for this.
Continue doing what you're doing.
Thank you so
I
much.
appreciate it.
God bless you.
God bless you.
That's never going to get old, man. Why do I do it? Because this happens all the time, Jordan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People rolling up, they don't know me from a hole in the ground, but they're liking what I say. I speak the truth. I'm not trying to be mean about it. I'm just in there. I want to figure stuff out. I didn't know everything. I didn't know anything. It's my job to figure out stuff and come up with solutions, right? I got nothing better to do. This isn't my backyard. My girlfriend's got small children here, right? The community is losing itself. We couldn't even sit down at Tim Hortons. That was a community hub down there where people gathered. So we got seniors that are afraid to leave their house. We got children that aren't safe to play outside. And we got people living in tents. We got people dying in these streets, you know? And I tell everybody, and this is what, I was just casually talking to somebody one day and I said, I seen more dead bodies on Waterloo Street in the last year and a half than I did in my entire military career. Now, they looked at me and they're like, really? I'm like, wow, yeah, really. So there's something going on here. And I'm talking about dead bodies, about people that are dying from fentanyl use, right? This is a bad drug, man. It grabs a hold of people and it could start with anything, right? Like you could be injured, get on prescriptions, don't have prescription anymore, start using fentanyl to ease the pain, right? Everybody's got a story, but it's out in the streets, dude.
What's your experience like living on Waterloo Street? I know there's a lot going on the day-to-day. What's it been like in your experience?
Yeah, it's a neighborhood with a lot of challenges, there's no question. It's a neighborhood with a lot of history too, right? The Catholic Church is behind us. For years, this was where Catholics lived. I have aunts and uncles that grew up on the street. I have know a lot of people in this neighborhood who have lived here for a really long time. It suffers from a lot of challenges as well that have come over the years from the changes that we've seen happen in this neighborhood. Whether it be facing the brunt of the housing crisis or the mental health crisis we have in this community, this neighborhood knows it, and this neighborhood faces it. But ultimately, we really love living here. We know our neighbors, we like our neighbors, we like the place we live. We get to live in a cool, early 1900s build house that's got a lot of cool character to it, that has a lot of history to it, and we love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned housing crisis and mental health crisis. That's part of the reason why I'm down here. I'm trying to figure it out, because when people talk about homelessness, it seems like homelessness is a blanket term, and it's not really that. There's a lot of different reasons people are down here. Is that what you're seeing too? Is it mostly mental health? Is it substance abuse? Is it the housing crisis that's causing?
Look, there's a pile of different reasons for all of it. We have a mental health crisis to address. We have a substance use crisis to address. We have a housing crisis to address. They're all interconnected. They're all part of the same. They're all part of the same challenges that we face in this neighborhood, and that's what it comes down to. So we've got to deal with that as a community, and we deal with it in a way where we recognize the dignity in those folks, and we recognize the hope that those folks have for their lives, and we want to do better. Not necessarily why I live in this neighborhood, but it's why I'm in politics, is to try and have better outcomes for those folks.
From the provincial government's perspective and the federal government's perspective, why would there not be support for these people? Like, what is a steelman argument for them? Is there any good reason from their point of view that they would cut funding to support folks?
It's not so much funding that's been cut. It's just not necessarily been a priority to make sure that these are different. From the provincial government, I will say, we have seen cuts to mental health support, cuts to community-based support.
What are they arguing? What is the reason for cutting?
Well, I think it's a lack of perspective from a pile of people, right? We don't have folks in power with perspective on what it's like to live in a neighborhood like this, who have perspective on what it's like to either live in homelessness, have substance use challenges or battle addictions, and what that means to live in a neighborhood, and what that impact has on a neighborhood as a whole. You know, Derrick would have probably mentioned that yesterday, what it means for the neighborhood as a whole and what the impact is on the neighborhood as a whole. I think those are conversations that don't happen as much as that higher level. And, you know, a narrative that Avenue B uses a lot is nothing about us without us, which means we can't make decisions for folks living in situations like this or folks experiencing situations like this if they're not at the table. And that's really important.
What was the city's role in the container housing there? Did the city provide any funding at all, or was that through third parties?
It's not. That's a challenge kind of the city's been put in, is housing is not traditionally our domain. We deal with land use and we deal with zoning and all that stuff, but funding housing is squarely the responsibility of the provincial government. Now, we've seen the need in the community and we've seen the urgency in the neighborhood to say, okay, we've got to do something. So we have started to step in. We've got new housing accelerator funding opportunities with new grants available that the city is funding, but it's new for us. We've never done it before, but we recognize the urgency in the community and see where the provincial government isn't really picking up that ball to be able to make something happen.
Okay. What can we do? What can we do, the average person who sees another human, a neighbor, suffering, who doesn't necessarily have the resources or time to make a real difference, but we still want to do something? Is there anything that we can do?
Yeah, I guess like, I think each person has a different capacity to be able to offer, and whatever that is in specific scenarios, but I'd say focus on community. You know, if you see an opportunity where you can support your community, take it, and do what you can to support a community and build a neighborhood and build. Sorry, just one sec.
Yeah, because both of them are demonstrators.
Okay. It just kept going. I didn't understand
Yeah.
I'll give a more succinct answer to that, and just say, like, it's about community when it comes to what we can do, and it means coming together and supporting your neighbors and knowing your neighbors and building a neighborhood where people want to be and people have respect for that neighborhood too. That's a big part of it, and it means us showing respect for our neighbors, and included in those neighbors are homeless folks and are people who are struggling with substance use and whatever it is. That's all part of it.
Thank you.
Awesome.
So this hopscotch right here, this brings a lot of joy to the community. This is used every day. You see people, you see adults, you see kids, when they roll up on it, they get a smile on their face and they do the hopscotch. It also lets drug users know that we have kids in this area, right? Hopefully they'll stop using drugs, because my girlfriend's kids play on these streets. They use chalk on these streets. We're finding meth pipes and needles. And you just seen the drugs that were open. Like, she just placed that on that girl's name. That could blow off. What's in that? I found loaded needles, loaded syringes, just in that park around the corner. Now, if a kid takes that, a little 2-year-old kid, they all going to have no chance regardless of what's in there. You know what I mean? How easy for a kid to pick something up and stab themselves with it, you know? This is what we're dealing with here, man. Let's protect our children. Let's put our children first over the needs of drug addicts, you know? And I hate to minimalize people as drug addicts, but if you're addicted to drugs, you're a drug addict. You don't put a gambler in a casino, you don't give an alcoholic alcohol, and you don't put drugs in the hands of a drug addict. Just call me old-fashioned, know, man. But we're giving them these devices of death that are getting into the community that are harming our children. Let's put our kids first. I want to help these people, but not at the expense of our kids right here. Oh, it's amazing in the window. Right? What do you think she's going to see? 2.5 years old, she's already seen more than most people have ever seen in their life.
Hello my friends and welcome back. If you made it to this point in the video, I thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I hope you're leaving this video a better person. Maybe a more compassionate person, maybe a more understanding person, okay? Through the conversations that I've had on the street, one thing that I've realized, which I sort of already knew going there, is that nothing is really simple. We're dealing with complex systems, and problems that exist within complex systems are very, very difficult to solve. It's even quite difficult to find the head of the snake, okay? So what do we do? What do we do? I've struggled with this, seeing suffering in the world and feeling helpless towards it. And a mentor of mine made me aware that I was suffering from Atlas syndrome. Atlas syndrome is when you feel that you have to balance the weight of the world on your shoulders, which is no easy task, as you can imagine. I read something recently in the second book of the Tao. You guys know I'm a big fan of the Tao Te Ching, and in it, it said, if you want to save the world, you must save yourself first, okay? What does that mean? If you want to save the world, you must save yourself first. At first thought, that can sound like, a selfish take. But if you look deeper, it's not. Be the light in a world of darkness. Be the light that illuminates the world for someone else, your fellow neighbor. Okay? How do you be the light? You take care of yourself. You strive for virtue in your daily life. You live in alignment with your values. The world is a complicated place, and it's really tough to wrangle, and oftentimes it might seem quite hopeless. But we all have an option. We could be a person who contributes to the suffering of others, okay? Adds fuel to the fire, or you could be a person who shines light, who brightens a dark space, okay? That's the end of the video. Thank you to our patrons. I'm not gonna put your names on the screen today. This is a deep video, it's pretty heated, and I imagine there's gonna be probably some people with some anger or some, sassiness in the comments. So, thank you for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day. See you in the next one. Peace.